Welcome back. Finally, Adam has returned. This is If We Were Creative. New logo and all of our glory. Here we go. Adam, great to be back. Great to be here with you. How you doing, my friend?
Fantastic. We get the NFL on. Am I cashing anything in DFS? One lineup. That's because I didn't expect A-Chain to be playing as much as he did. But we're here to talk about wrestling, not about fantasy football. Oh, coming back off the heels of All In and likewise All Out. Great wrestling pay-per-views. Great time to be a pro wrestling fan.
You know, it really is. While we're going through this, I'm going to go ahead and kind of give everyone here a little shout. If you watched the show before, you probably have seen us go through a lot more with going through what's happening in the world as a whole, of wrestling, that is. What we're going to try and do going forward, we're going to try and focus on previewing or recapping the premium live events, pay-per-views, just to kind of, that's where we seem to have a little bit more buzz anyway, rather than trying to cover when we get to some of those, let's call it what it is, the post-mania grind. Some years just get to those really dry spells. We're going to focus on these premium live events, pay-per-views, and with Adam being our in-house AEW specialist, we're going to drive through All Out tonight, which of course we'll call out to All In the process. And we're going to keep rolling forward. Without further ado, Adam, in your words, walk me through that lights out steel cage match.
It's match of the year. It is the best of the trio that Paige and Swerve have had. I didn't think anything could outdo their absolutely brutal Texas death match. This match did, and you all know by now how the match ended. It was by knockout. So the rules of that lights out steel cage match were either you do it by pinfall, submission, or by knockout, and it was by knockout, which I thought was pretty unique. I think this obsession gimmick for Hangman Page has been a breath of fresh air to him in his career. And now it looks like he's going to be feuding with Jarrett and anyone else that helped Swerve get in Hangman's way, which is an interesting, unique spin. Because it was a lights out match, this does not count as an official win for Hangman Page. So as far as the record books are concerned, it's still 2-0 Swerve, which I think probably comes into play later. But that is absolutely match of the year right now. It's a match of the year contender. You can put it up there with Swerve Danielson from All In. You can put it up there with any match you want of the year. People are going to go, oh, but Cody Roman was much of it. No. Cody Roman was one of the greatest storytelling matches of all time. Was not one of the greatest professional wrestling matches of all time. This match was brutal. It was lethal. I thought this would have been Hell in a Cell, or AEW's version of Hell in a Cell. I mean, this was... I don't know about you, Ben. I don't want to get stapled anywhere on my body. These two SOBs took staple shots. Swerve was laughing, not flinching, and just getting stapled. Swerve then took a picture of his family in the house and stapled it to Hangman Page's face. This was all sorts of brutal, and I loved it.
Well, I think going through this whole thing, that the overriding theme of the night really was brutality, wasn't it? I mean, we saw some absolute violence to finish the night here. And
Willow Statlander was insane.
I don't want to skip past this too quickly, but I have to talk about, in that type of violence, Bryan Danielson and Jack Perry and what we saw happen at the end of that match. So what's your take? Too far? Okay. What do you think?
It helps get Perry over. Bryan still knows this is his last chance to get people over. The only thing that really stood out to me about that match, as crazy as it sounds, was that Perry outshined Danielson. So Perry he's on the right track for a world title and down the line. He's getting to that point. He's not there yet. He shined it All In. Beautiful squash match, by the way. And that's exactly what that coffin match was a glorified squash match. And he shined against Danielson. You
Yep.
put Perry in there against arguably the greatest professional wrestler in the world today, and you outshine him. That to me says a lot. And I'm happy for Jack. I really, really am. Because what that says to me, Ben, is that he's finally getting ready to take that step into the main event scene.
So I have to ask this though. They missed the chance, in my opinion, for the GOAT versus the Scapegoat headline. Like that's a T-shirt in the making right there.
Fair.
But that's just my marketing brain going for that.
It also amazes me what happens when you only have 2 weeks in between PLEs.
But despite that, though, you look at the whole card here, these were 2 very different cards when we saw it All In. I mean, All In was, it felt like 2 very different shows. Even though there wasn't enough crossover, still was cohesive. It was still very different. I mean, look, I seriously thought when I saw Bree and the kids at ringside, I thought this was going to be the he rides off in the sunset. Thank you, Brian, and off we're going to go. But that being said, this next, I'm going to say full year. I fully expect us to go to All Out next year of Brian carrying the title. Just by hook or by crook, it's going to happen. And I think this is where I go down the line of, if I were creative, yes, I am going to call a line out right away. I would 100% take this and milk out this being the farewell tour. And to your point, letting him put everyone over. But in the process, he will be Batman. Not the hero we deserve, but the hero we need. He's going to be there so long.
Interesting.
That he is going to find himself become the bad guy. And that's okay. I think he can go out the bad guy and still get a thank you, Brian chance when it's all said and done. So there's a lot to be said for it. There's a lot that goes into that, but I think that you have a good chance to see. He said, just put Jack Perry over despite beating him. Mox doesn't need the win, and there's still more there that I think you can see this turning out to where Mox can lose, however that might be. And I think you're still a spot where.
So for people that are not up on Dynamite and haven't been watching the past couple of weeks, ever since Dynamite post All In, after Brian won the AEW World Championship, Mox came back and said one line that tied together a photo that leaked was, "This isn't your company anymore." That was the line. He said, "I can't tell you anything else. I can't get into it." And then it was this whole thing with Darby to try doing whatever. And I logically speaking, I have no idea how Darby's a world title contender after losing in a squash match at All In, but that's besides the point. The picture that I've referred to was of Tony Khan and Shane McMahon meeting in a boardroom somewhere. Now, if this is in fact Shane's new faction for a hostile takeover, is the reason Ben is saying that Mox doesn't need the win, and somehow, whatever, whether it's by disqualification or whatever, it can be a statement from, I'm assuming it's Shane's faction. So far, the only 2 confirmed are Mox and Marina Shafir, which is a really interesting choice to begin with. Good for her, though, by the way. I don't know if Claudio and Pac are involved in it.
What I'm waiting for is Roderick Strong, because I want to see him work with his wife for one thing. But even beyond that, like Marina Shafir, what I see here too is you still have that WWE connection though. And that's where I think the more you build that WWE roster, I think that Saraya makes sense to happen to that at some point. I think you can make a case for a lot of that WWE talent that's been used, essentially pushed to the back right now, could all become that, to your point, the hostile takeover faction, and it makes a lot of sense, right? Shane's the boss they knew.
It would make sense leading up to Blood and Guts next year, when you can slow burn this through Grand Slam and Full Gear, Revolution, all the way up to Blood and Guts next year, where you can truly have Team AEW versus Team whatever, right? Like that would make a heck of a lot of sense.
I'll do you
Now,
one better.
yes,
I firmly believe this. In our lifetime, and perhaps even in this decade, we will have an AEW WWE Survivor Series pay-per-view happen. And if you're going to go on the Shane McMahon line, Trips is the guy to make that make sense.
damn right.
I don't think it'll ever be I don't think AEW's ever being bought by WWE, nothing like that. But
No.
I think you still could see there being Triple H and Tony Khan, whether it's through Shane, whatever, come together and say, look, we both can catch lightning in a bottle and make a hell of a lot of money in the process. But imagine this. Imagine you go through this whole process and then the promos you can cut. We beat all of your rejects, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I'm just saying there's a lot to be said there. MJF in the ring with, I don't know, Seth Rollins.
I was just going to say Seth Rollins.
Like, what else could you ask for, right? And even as a one-off, that becomes the real dream, which is what AEW started with, right? Let us see our favorite guys come together and do what they want to do.
And I can see that too. With Triple H at the helm in WWE, that is going to happen because Triple H knows what's best for business. I mean, how many... You have to imagine Triple H must have told Ricochet, dude, hang out to the end of your contract, go to AEW, you've made money here, go do you. Call me anytime. Like, Triple H he's a wrestler's type of leader. Mm-hmm. He understands them, he respects them, and I think WWE, again, WWE's in their lane. They know what's making them money hand over fist, while still getting a bit more of that professional wrestling kind of style. But they know that's not what they're catering to. Triple H isn't stupid. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's just AEW versus WWE versus TNA.
Right.
Even though Joe Hendry is about the only thing, probably the reason why they did that entire thing, because I haven't seen Josh Alexander on WWE TV yet. But, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see what WWE and AEW do in regards to that.
I think if you even throw New Japan Pro Wrestling in that mix, there is a situation where you could see all four brands being in this situation. It's not ridiculous.
If we adding in New Japan, they need to stay away from everyone for about 2 to 3 years while they continue to build up new guys. Because right now, as much as I love New Japan, their top end talent is gone. Their last big guy is Naito. They have nobody else. They're trying to build up Finley. Not good. They should put the belt back on Takagi. They're finally gonna pull the trigger on Zack Sabre Jr. They don't have that next crop that was ready to come up. Tanahashi, Okada, Naito, Kenny Omega. That was the big four. Nakamura left. Okay. Tanahashi wasn't wrestling as much full-time and he was getting to his oldest age. Omega left in 2019 to go to AEW. Now Okada's gone. The only one of the big four left is Naito. That's it. So, like, I really want to see them take time and focus, continuing to build up their young talent for this next wave of true New Japan wrestling. Because who would you have on Team New Japan that realistically, other than hardcore wrestling fans, who would you have on a Team New Japan in a 5-on-5? Who? Naito? And then what? Maybe Sabre because he's been on WWE TV? And then how many fans really know of Shingo Takagi? How many know of Shota Umino?
But they don't have to. And Forbidden Door has proven that. Forbidden Door, the build-up to Forbidden Door has gone through, this is who this guy is, and this is why you should care about him for most wrestling fans. Just calling that what it is as well. I mean, people, I would say I am, as a avid wrestling fan, or as passive a New Japan fan as you possibly can be without just not caring at all. I fully admit that. And this is where I think you go back to it. And I think I like that AEW has a partnership there. I think that you have Ring of Honor still there as well, but you can still use New Japan to build a partnership. If you have guys who are just, there's nothing for them in creative at AEW or Ring of Honor.
Look at what Jack Perry did.
That's exactly where I was going to go with it. I think you've got opportunities there to build. But I have taken us way down a long rabbit hole to get us back on track.
It's you and I. What else is new?
Well, that's fair. That's very fair. But, Hikaru Shida did have a match that night as well. I don't know if people aware of this or not, but Hikaru Shida did fight the CEO of Mercedes Moné. What was your takeaway from this match? What do you think? I mean, are you good with the decision? What would you have done? Where are you at?
It's Mercedes' best looking match that she's had since coming back from injury.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, you and I were talking pre-show. I said I compared Mercedes's comeback now for the first time seeing her wrestle since the injury to CM Punk currently. Just lackadaisical, doesn't look good, looks done, type of deal. I mean, but that was her best looking match.
Well, my
And
problem with her is always been
does,
she always feels choreographed to me, right?
yeah. I mean, this is also the first time
Sorry.
she's had freedom since the Indies, since she was with Chaotic Wrestling up here in Massachusetts before she went to WWE. This is the first time she has to break out of that system. She had New Japan, was doing well over there, but then got the injury. And now you take time to come back from the injury. And again, you're getting acclimated to not being in that WWE style after being there for 10 plus years. You have to get, I guess, kind of acclimated. This isn't the 18, 19, 20-year-old, Mercedes that we saw in Chaotic Wrestling. This is WWE, Sasha Banks. She, like you said, choreographed how to do things, work through a whole story, has all the promo skills in the world, but finally looked good. And kudos to Shida, because she always puts on good matches.
Hikaru Shida to me is one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world today, as far as what she actually brings to the ring. I mean, she carried the women's division through the pandemic, frankly, and it's just Shida has won my respect for life, and I will. She can go babyface. She can go heel if she wants. I'll still cheer for her. That's one that it'd be a really hard turn to get me to boo Shida. I think she's earned it. I'll give her flowers.
I 100% agree with you there. I'm trying to think. There was really
that being said, did Mercedes
about that
need
match.
the win?
She'll eventually drop it to Britt at some point.
Well, I'm just asking: Did Mercedes need that win? Does she need to keep this? Does she need to keep winning right now, or is this just?
Yeah, I think she does.
I thought it was a weird decision.
Okay. I think she does because, look, my idea at All In, I did not watch the buy-in. I did not realize Jamie Hayter returned in the buy-in, which was a waste after a year away from the ring to waste her return on the buy-in. I would have loved to seen Britt come out, stop on the stage, give the one finger up and go, wait, point back to the entrance ramp, and Hayter's music hits. That would have been way freaking better. And then you could have justified Britt winning. You could have done Hayter's too over to turn her heel, but you could have done so much with that and saved that for a massive pop. It's gotta be Britt, and if it's not Britt, it's Hayter.
I think Hayter's the pick right now. Britt does not need a title, in my opinion. Britt shows up, and we're all going DMD. That's going to happen. So I think Hayter still needs some title time to really get the fan base fully. People like her. She's over, but she can be hotter though.
And the problem with Hayter is she had that massive buildup. Finally got the title again. She was getting over naturally. Got the title. Was doing well. Injury, which was great for Timeless Tony Storm. So, speaking of, should we transition to that match? From All In and the fallout that has now come from what do you do with Mariah May?
I think that you got a chance right now with Hayter being back, with Mariah May, with Tony Storm. Like, you can do a lot with this. I mean, call it an accent match and throw Saraya in there. I don't care. Like, just give me something to enjoy. There's I love watching those women go at it because of what they bring to the ring. And I would love to see how that dynamic could shift. I think that Mariah can still use the rub. I think that you can still give a little more that she's just needs, in my opinion, more finishing. Pun kind of intended, by the way. To really help her get herself to where she wants to be. I think that it's good for the story for Tony Storm. I think that was sad to say, coming to the death of the cycle.
Yeah.
Well, we all loved it, all enjoyed it, but
we all knew it.
Yeah. But Hayter's return to me, it's a good stepping stone while you're trying to put the strap on her. Let her go through and just, I don't know, beat some skulls.
I mean, I got to tell you, I was happy with the build-up for Mariah. This, I don't even know what to call these past few weeks for her, have been freaking terrible. No celebration, dancing in the ring, squash match. It's like you're still teasing a Tony Storm rematch. If you've truly passed her, get rid of the doing whatever flailing in the ring like Tony's done. Just go create your own thing. I don't know what the glamour is. Tell us what that means. Because you had a great payoff, but you've done nothing in the last couple of weeks, and she is losing steam.
I think the balloon's popped, and right now it's going to have to become completely from nothing to build anything with her at this point. Like, it's going to be, I don't know, Willow Nightingale to go just take it off her, but let's go to that match now. Statlander and Willow Nightingale, the Chicago Street fight.
I didn't get a chance to watch much of it because I was on delay, so I was catching back up. But from what I saw, if that steel cage match wasn't there in that night, that'd be probably one of the most brutal matches of the year. That was unbelievable.
So I'm not a Willow Nightingale fan, and I'm usually a sucker for the babyface, but I love Chris Statlander. And going back to the alien gimmick, whatever else, I love Chris Statlander. And it's rare that you'll see me cheering for the heel, like when I shouldn't be, if it makes sense, which is very rare.
I was going to say, with the exception of MJF.
Correct. Or The Miz. The Miz and MJF are kind of the two heels you're allowed to cheer for.
Yep, agreed.
So, yeah, I mean, look, good match. The two can go. I'll say Willow's warming on me, but I'm still not there.
I'm not there with her wrestling. I'm not. I've seen that. I've seen
right.
I'm not there with her wrestling. I'm not.
Promos are fine. She's likable.
Yeah.
But But speaking of somebody that I love, two guys I love to watch, Will Ospreay and Pac fought it out for the International Championship. And look, I can watch Ospreay wrestle all day. I enjoy it. The guy's a freak.
Absolutely.
And Pax, if he wasn't so darn short, would be just as freakish. But like Pax, just
he's still freakish.
He is still freakish, but like I almost want to call him a leprechaun. Like he's just so little. But I don't want to get punched. So flying back through this a little bit though, I want to go to the tag team championship. Young Bucks versus Claudio and Wheeler.
That was a very weird decision.
Right.
Just like,
and I feel like the Young Bucks in general in a weird decision. I don't understand. I think it's legitimately trying to get them legitimately booed or disliked. Like, do they want go away heat? I don't know. Like, it's just
I don't know. That they made a good promo on Dynamite this past week before the tag team gauntlet. It's like, when they created AEW, that one of the things they wanted to found was the best tag team division in the world. They did that when it started. And then the tag division is just freaking nosedive, has not had the place it has. Tag titles haven't been invented in ages. Like, that was one of the things that made AEW special, was we give a damn about tag team wrestling.
Right.
Not for the last year or so. No one's given a damn about tag team wrestling there. Been focused on all the big stars and signings that they got. I
don't know.
I don't know what you do.
When you got FTR and why am I blanking now? Daddy Ass running around.
Oh, Acclaimed.
Thank you. When you have the Acclaimed running as hot as they were.
Yeah.
When you have, I mean, the things that were going on, it was hard to take away from. But if you're going to go serious, are they going to really hold water there? FTR would have. FTR did when they had to. But do you really want to put the Acclaimed into a serious tag team battle?
So here's the thing with the Acclaimed to me. They're good chasers of the belt. When they have the belts, I don't care. My opinion.
I also would say I miss Ray Fenix and Penta. Like those two to me make the whole tag division better.
Yep.
More entertaining.
They should have never left. Tony Khan should have thrown the frickin' checkbook at them. And just said, how much do you want? Because they should have been multi-time tag champs. They should have been featured more prominently. Penta El Cero Miedo should have had an international championship. He's had plenty of world title chances. Should have had a lower belt. Why? Because in the grand scheme of where AEW starting out, it's just they have their run of champions that have gotten up to a certain point. Penta El Cero Miedo is that level of champion. Never got utilized properly. Fenix, I think, is just flippy dippy. Penta El Cero Miedo is just a lot more of a complete wrestler, better singles wrestler than Fenix is. And Fenix got the singles title and held it very shortly. AEW fumbled the ball with the Lucha Brothers.
Yep. I mean, Death Triangle in general.
That too.
So, and that's partially unpacked. But anyway, look, I think right now we've got the question now comes with Bang Bang Gang. What do you do there?
All depends on Jay White's health.
So, and this is where I'm going to rabbit trail for a second. This is part of why Vince didn't like shrimps. When you have the shrimps, things are going to break. They're going to do the flippy dippy stuff, to your point. They're going to break forearms, Ray. They're going to do whatever. I don't know. What's Jay's injury right now? I don't even know. Bobby Fish. I mean, the guy, Bobby Fish, is a great tag team wrestler, but he can't wrestle for more than 6 months without getting hurt. So, all that said, there's a lot of things here that I really think to your point's valid. Tag team wrestling has not been where it should be.
Nope.
The Bucks carrying the straps has not changed that.
Nope.
And the Bucks, especially running with the EVP heel stuff, isn't helping at all either if they're not going to take these guys who really deserve that babyface run and give them some actual build-up to a strap match. Now, maybe we get that at Full Gear or Wrestle Dream. I don't know. But it's, heck, maybe Grand Slam. A guy can wish. But
Grand Slam's going to be Ospreay and Fletcher versus the Young Bucks, and Fletcher's going to turn on Ospreay. It's going to lead to a Takeshita international title match. What are you doing with the tag division? Anyway.
It's an Aussie Open. No. But moving to our devil, MJF.
Oh, my gosh.
Had to wrestle his demon, Daniel Garcia.
Want to talk about a brutal match. I thought Daniel Garcia was going to pull out the Dynamite Diamond ring and said, I had it all along.
Seriously, though. Look, Daniel Garcia coming out during All In had me popping.
Yep.
This match to me is definitely one of those that you want to watch. You knew it was going to be good. These guys have both put the work in. You knew it was going to be a good match. And the story's not done. So, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm happy for Daniel Garcia because it's like he doesn't have the gimmick yet, but the wrestling is there. His promo work has gotten better. So instead of being 1 for 3, he's like 1.5 for 3. That promo work is continuing to get better. He'll have 2 for 3. He just needs to find the gimmick that's going to work for him. But he's getting a lot better. And MJF's new evolution of his character, I think, is really interesting. From the black scarf, the black Burberry scarf. We have everyone when he teased the Triple H thing with the jacket, but no, it's the black Burberry scarf. Gone right back to the same thing. It makes a lot of sense, but I don't know what MJF is going to do from here, because this is going to continue, and it's MJF here or Daniel Garcia here. How are you going to build him up to? I don't think he's going to get to the same level. That build him up enough where he can get away from this feud and start getting into that like international title picture.
Well, I think that right now that I think you still have more to go with MJF and Daniel Garcia. I think you still going to more extremes, extreme rules, whatever it's going to be. Like, I don't know, give me a death match with those two.
I could see that. I can see that culminating at Full Gear as like the final match. So we got MJF got the win, which means we'll see Garcia get the next one. I don't think they're going to wrestle the Grand Slam. They'll probably wrestle the Wrestle Dream. Garcia gets the win, and that leads into something at Full Gear. Heck, it may even continue to World's End.
So I think we're going to get something good here. I think this is going to build to some very real violence, and MJF's poor shoulder being absolutely useless.
Why did he come back from injury that early? Can we just talk about that from a completely off topic? Why did he come back from injury that early when he should have been out a year? I'm happy he's back. Well, yeah, or Tony, there might have been some truth to the promo of when he was battling Osprey, like, Tony Khan had to call me back in because you weren't doing the job that he told me you would do and carry the company. That I have to come back now to save the company. I wonder how much truth there is to that.
I would love to hear how the conversation goes and how much truth there was even to MJF calling him a mark when he called him a mark. I think MJF, the reason why we connect him so much is he does put those pieces of truth in, even when it hurts for people around him sometimes.
Yeah.
And so he is definitely one of the young guys who goes to business for himself sometimes, and that's why we like him. That's why I like him. And that's why people who are still clinging to the weird past they love of Punk being something. Punk went to business for himself, and he's never stopped since. When you're that old and you're in that state of your career, give it up, old man. It's fine if you want to wrestle, but at least know your place.
Yeah.
All right. I don't even want to talk about the Undisputed Kingdom match. Not really anything I want.
Don't care.
Yeah. So Sky Blue made her appearance on crutches. Okay. Dark Order still exists, kind of. Great. Cool. Yeah, Bang Bang Gang gets the win there. And yeah, the Claim match, whatever. Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara hologram. Okay.
Don't care.
So, look, and this is my fault for taking the show from the main event backwards, but overall, I think a very strong event, worth the watch based on what I've not watched the whole thing yet. I'm being completely transparent, but
I haven't seen Osprey versus Pac yet, and that's a match I want to see, but it's a match of I want to dedicate the time to truly watch the match and not be interrupted.
100%. And that's where I think this whole card well, I'll say this, from roughly that MJF, Daniel Garcia on, I think that card up to me deserves that kind of complete attention. So,
yep. And also kudos to them from last year's All Out. They had a much better card this year than they did last year. Last year it was All In one weekend, and the following weekend was All Out. They had 2 weeks and they made the fucking most of it. They really, really did. They had a fantastic build with the limited stuff that you did, And I think the one thing that sold me on it was Paige Swerve. Was the fact that we got a "This is Arson" chant on live television is sad, but it was, again, showed the obsession of Hangman. MJF and Garcia sold me on the pay-per-view. The main event sold me on it. The 2-week build-up you had with Perry and Bryan sold me on it. So they did what they needed to do to sell the match. They kept Willow and Chris to All Out to have something to build towards. So Tony Khan and the rest of creative, they learned me a lesson. So big shout outs and kudos for that, because this was a much better card than the last year's All Out card that they put on.
So, do things really get bigger in Texas? I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out next year.
Well, while we're kind of wrapping the show up here, I want to say this. Thank you, Sportstainment Guy, for the shout outs here. Appreciate you coming on and watching tonight. For anyone watching, please share the show. We want to try and continue to grow this. We're still obviously finding our complete groove, but we love wrestling. We want people who love wrestling to be able to enjoy what we're talking about as well. So definitely hop in the chats. Any questions or topics you want us to talk about, please throw those in there as well. Next time we're on, we'll have a official email for the show about time to be able to share with you guys as well. But yeah, thanks for joining us for the show. And Adam, thank you as always, man.
Always a pleasure, Ben. Thank you for hosting. And folks, we out.